You're inside a longhouse in 10th century Iceland. The fire is dying down. Outside, it's the middle of winter, which up here means almost no daylight at all. Just weeks of near total darkness. The wind is howling against the turf walls. And somewhere out there, past the edge of the light, something is moving in the snow. For the Vikings, night wasn't just dark. It was a completely different world one, where the rules of the daytime stopped applying, and the dead didn't always stay dead. Start with the thing Norse sagas return to again and again, the Draugr. A Draugr wasn't a ghost in the way we think of one no misty figure, no floating apparition. According to the sagas, a Draugr was physical, solid, heavy, often described as hell blar corpse blue or corpse black, swollen with rot, but still able to walk, still able to speak, and still incredibly strong. In the saga of Grettir the Strong, a shepherd named Gleimr dies mysteriously during a brutal winter. He comes back. He terrorizes the farm, driving people mad with fear, killing livestock, and stalking the dark. When the hero Grettir finally corners him and defeats him in single combat, the dying Gleimr curses him, telling him he'll be haunted by fear and darkness for the rest of his life. Sagas describe Grettir being genuinely, permanently changed by that encounter, afraid of the dark, for years afterward. In the Eyrbyggja saga, a wealthy and cruel man named Thorolf Lame-Foot simply refuses to get up from his chair one evening. In the morning, he's found dead sitting upright, eyes still open. He comes back as a Draugr so violent that his own farm has to be abandoned. According to Norse belief, certain deaths made this more likely violent deaths, unfinished business, greed, or simply being a genuinely bad person in life. And crucially, an improper burial could leave the door open for the dead to return. How you stopped one here's where it gets interesting. The Norse didn't just fear Draugr, they had actual practical procedures for preventing them. Bodies of people considered dangerous were sometimes carried out of the house through a hole cut in the wall. Not through the front door then, the hole was immediately sealed, so the corpse wouldn't remember the way back in. Some were buried with heavy stones placed on the chest, specifically to keep them pinned down. Others had their big toes tied together, so they couldn't easily walk. In the most extreme cases described in the saga, a body already suspected of returning would be dug up again and beheaded, with the head placed at the corpse's buttocks or between its legs, so it couldn't be reattached. This wasn't superstition performed lightly. These were real, documented burial customs, and the fact that entire communities organized themselves around preventing the dead from returning tells you how seriously this fear was taken. It wasn't just the dead. The Draugr wasn't the only thing waiting in the dark. The Norse also believed in the Mara, a spirit that would sit on a sleeping person's chest at night, causing suffocating, paralyzing nightmares. If that word sounds familiar, it should. It's where the English word nightmare actually comes from. There were land spirits, house wights, and hidden folk believed to inhabit the wilderness beyond the farmstead beings you respected, and definitely didn't insult after dark. Farms were sometimes built or avoided based on where these spirits were believed to live. Strip away the folklore for a moment, and there's a simpler explanation sitting underneath all of it. Scandinavian winters mean weeks of near total darkness. Real predators, wolves, bears hunted at night. Raids and blood feuds were part of daily life, and enemies often struck under cover of darkness. In a world with no electric light, no locks stronger than a wooden bar across a door, night genuinely was more dangerous. The folklore didn't come from nowhere. It grew directly out of a world where the dark really could kill you one way or another. We tell ourselves, the dark is just an absence of light now. Flip a switch, and the fear goes away. But for centuries, entire communities organized their burial customs, their house building, and their nightly routines around the belief that the dark held something that could follow you home. Maybe that fear never fully left us. It just stopped having a name.